station. Heed the call, the escalation. This is your radio salvation. Go, 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 go.
So Ricky and I actually met on Facebook. We went on our first date in Los Angeles, and we were sitting at the table, and he magically did this throat transformation where he added lemon and salt and dipped the throat into a cup of water, and the throat just completely curled up and transformed. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I've already dated a magician. And he was like, oh, well. For being a singer and entertainer who was diagnosed with oral cancer in May of 2018. Cancer has changed my life, but I might be able to say for the better. Yeah. My name's Elly Brown.
And we are back for the second time. Woo! All right. Well, we had a little technical difficulty. Apparently, the audio was not functioning. But my man Aaron made it work, so that was great. Thanks, Aaron. Even though I'm going to bust your balls about this probably for the rest of the show. But anyway, but we're glad you guys are back. Thank you guys if you stay tuned. And for all the new people who are watching, if you guys have questions, also, you can shoot them into the Facebook page. We have the lovely Rebecca is over there on the couch, and she will be letting me know what you guys are asking and all that kind of good stuff. So just a couple of quick things before we get into the show itself with my lovely guest, Elly Brown. Please go and download our app at Go Live Vegas. You guys can find it on iPhone. You can find it for your Android. It's on there for both. And this way you can listen. And it's a real radio station as well, so you guys can listen to music when the shows aren't on. So you guys can tune into that. Also, we want to welcome our new and only sponsor so far. So if you guys have a business you would like me to be part of, we have a new sponsor. They're called Terror Sound Clothing. They are out of the UK. They are a brand new clothing company. I just met them on the Twitter. on the Twitter.
The Twitter.
On the Twitter. And I'm very excited. They're going to be sending us some clothes, and I'm very excited. So their themes are like paranormal and spooky, gothy, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited about having them be one of our sponsors. So also check us out at afterdark.host. That's our website. With that website, it links you to all of our social media stuff. So links you to the Facebook page, links you to the YouTube channel, Periscope, all the things. All the things are there. So you guys can check that out. Also, we're going to be opening up the phone lines in a little while, so you guys can call in if you want, or you can write in if you want. Either or is fine. Just a couple of quick about we have upcoming guests next week. I have my good friend Anastasia Sin. She is a biohacker and cyborg magician performer and just all around awesome person. And I've known her for quite a while. And so she's going to be on. It's going to be really great. So please tune in for that. And also coming up, I'm very excited about this one because it's just so weird and bizarre. And he kind of fell into my lap in a very odd way just this week. His name is Matty Roberts. He is the kid who started the big internet crazy thing last summer called Storm Area 51, where it's like, oh, they can't stop us all. And that whole thing, he's going to be on here live. We're going to talk to him. We're going to find out all the crazy stuff about all the things with the government and the show that came out of it, all this stuff. It's going to be really great. And also coming up in 2 weeks is going to be 3 weeks. I'm sorry. Is going to be Jay Wasley, my buddy from Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel. He's one of the guys that works with Zach and all those guys. Also, you can check me out every day except Tuesdays and Thursdays at Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum right here in beautiful Las Vegas, in downtown Las Vegas, 600 East Charleston Boulevard. And you guys can find us at thehauntedmuseum.com. And come down and check out the coolest museum in Las Vegas, I guarantee it. So, with that all being said, let's get into my guest, the lovely, the beautiful, and the very talented, my good friend, Miss Elly Brown. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
I'm so glad you're here. So, during this whole thing, I was like, I've been like thinking of guests, like who can I get on? To be honest with you, I didn't think I was gonna get anybody to come on this thing because I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be like, here, which one of my goofy friends will be like, hey, just do me a favor, come on and talk to me for an hour. I don't even care about what. But we've been getting really great things, and you are a huge social media influencer, which I'm very kind of interested in that because. A lot of people hear this term social media influencer. What the hell does that even mean?
That's so interesting. So first of all, I don't really like to go by saying that I'm an influencer. I know that maybe I've put that language here or there in my socials and things like that, but really it's because I want to possibly be able to reach more people and speak to more groups of people.
Yes.
And so, I don't know, Facebook influencer or social media influencer, it sounds so...
pretentious.
I actually don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that, and I don't want to go by that, so forget everything John Shaw said.
So one of the things, like, I mean, I read a lot of stuff about these kinds of things, and you see some of these people who call themselves influencers, and they try to, like, get like businesses to give them tons of free stuff.
Yeah,
and they use it, I think, to a very negative way. It's like, oh, I have 20,000 followers, and therefore you should give me free lobster.
Yeah. And influencer
I
has that bad connotation because when you meet someone and they call themselves an influencer, you immediately think, oh, are they going to ask me to like give them something?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like you have a big fan base, and that's great that a bunch of people are following you. They're interested in your life and what you do on a daily. But it's like some of these people, I think, take themselves way too seriously.
Sure.
And really like overstep the bounds of like what they're entitled to because a bunch of people.
No doubt. And honestly, John, if there's a situation in which I could influence anyone. Yeah. For me, I hope it's that I influence them to not ignore their symptoms, to get their treatment. You know, I think my messages are pretty universal in that way, and I would never want anyone to think that I called myself an influencer because I think I'm so important or whatever.
Well, I've known you now for, I think it's about 5 years now, at least 4 or 5 years.
Definitely.
So we had a very odd way of meeting.
Yeah.
So it was kind of bizarre. So I worked on a cruise ship for Norwegian Cruise Lines in a show called The Illusionarium. Now, I launched this ship out of Germany, and when we were first on there, they for people who've never been on a cruise ship, they have safety videos, and they have videos that play around the clock on all the TV monitors. And it tells you, hey, if we have this going on, and there's these restaurants, and if there's a problem, this is what you're going to do.
Yep.
So we had a safety video, and there was a girl on there who would tell us all this stuff, and we would imitate her, in our cabins, and sometimes
You were doing bits about the safety video?
We were doing bits about the safety video because it was always funny. It was like, everyone's always pointing with two fingers or with an open hand. You ever point with your finger? That wasn't really in a class. That was a real thing that happened. Yeah. I had to go to a class to tell me not to point with my finger. It was so stupid.
I remember those days.
So I was on this ship for 2 years. So I saw this video day in and day out. I finally leave the ship, come back to the land, and I know your boyfriend, Ricky Blacks, who is also a big social media person, and we're going to get him on eventually too. But he was he had a show called Wizard Wars that was on TV, and Penn and Teller were involved, and they were having the premiere party here in town, and he was like, hey, you're back in town. I was only in town for a few days at the time, and he was like, hey, we're having this party. So we go to the party, and I remember seeing this girl sitting in the audience, and she was dressed really nice, but kind of like old style, like almost like a 30s.
Vintagey.
Very vintagey looking. And I'm like, man, this girl looks super familiar. So they had a taco truck, because the bar didn't have any food. They had a taco truck outside. I go outside. This girl comes up, and we start talking, and it's you. For those of you guys that didn't know where that was going. And it was you. And we're sitting there talking, and I didn't know that you were dating Ricky at the time. We just started talking, and you were like, oh, are you a magician too? And I was like, yeah, I just came back. I was working for Norwegian Cruise Lines. You're like, oh, I did and as soon as you started, I was like, you're the damn video safety girl. Oh my God, for 2 years I've been looking at your face.
And that is so funny.
And it was super funny.
And so many people in the magic world don't put it quite together, and then we'll meet each other and they'll be like, oh yeah, that because so many magicians go to those ships to perform.
Yeah, and the videos still play because why would they spend more money on another person doing it, right? So your beginnings, you're a spokesmodel, you're a model, singer. Dated magicians, which I always thought was super funny when Ricky was not the first magician, which is super great. But you started your career doing all these things before your big life change, which happened about 2 years ago now.
Yes, that's right.
So tell us about the beginning.
Yeah. Oh wow, I was living my dream life. It was so great. You know how when you're growing up, especially in theater or performance, and everyone tells you, find one thing and stick to it, and just do that. If you want to be really great at anything, you have to do that. And I remember hearing that voice all throughout my learning years and going out into the world. And when I moved to Las Vegas especially, I had been in the cruise ship world for a while as a production show singer. And I saw this market just having such great potential for someone who wanted to multitask and kind of hustle and do lots of different things. So I got myself into some hosting courses and tried to meet people from the different communities, the film community, the modeling agencies. And I just started taking whatever work I could get. And a few years in, there I was doing on-camera hosting projects, I was working at conventions, I was delivering speeches, I was up on stage, I was in an a cappella group, I did a couple of movies. I mean, life was good by anyone's measure. It was an amazing time.
And I remember you doing all this stuff. And I remember because we all watched the movie Domicile, correct?
Domicile, yeah.
Domicile. If you guys get a chance, go online and look up Domicile.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
It's on there we go. It's on Amazon Prime. You guys can check it out. And you can see Elly and stuff. And then your life changed. Obviously you were not born the way you look currently.
No.
And by that I mean you had dark hair.
So sneaky.
There's an obvious change in your speech and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so tell people about what happened and how it all came about.
So ever since I was in high school, I had this little white patch on the left side of my tongue. And I went to the dentist, and she would say, let's just keep an eye on it. And nothing really much happened to it for a while. And then in 2004, I forget where I was living at the time. Actually, I think I was working on ships.
Yeah.
And someone on land that I had gone to see specifically about this because it was getting worse. This particular oral surgeon biopsied it, and he said, "You have a condition called lichen planus. Now, don't worry too much, because nobody dies from this. But keep an eye on it, because
But I love the keep an eye
Yeah,
on it
just
moment. It's
keep an eye on that.
nobody dies from it, but
no one dies
keep
from
an
it,
eye on
but
it.
keep an eye on it."
Nice.
So, I knew that there was the potential for trouble, because as the years went by, it was getting worse and worse.
Now, by worse and worse, was it growing?
The patch of white was growing,
was
the
spreading
area
more
was
and more?
larger,
Okay.
and it was,
Was it
actually, it did. It was like having an open sore. So
Okay.
any salt or alcohol really irritated
Ah.
it. And when I moved here, I had a neurosurgeon, and he was sort of like, just trying to minimize spicy food, don't drink too much, that sort of thing. But it really wasn't going away. And then a few years later, I was actually with a different oral surgeon, and this was in the beginning of 2018, and he put his hand in and looked around and said, "Ooh, I don't like the look of that." That's
Which always is a great confidence
man,
booster.
just like heart up in your
Yeah.
neck, and what does this mean? And so, sure enough, he biopsied it, and it came back, and I had a tumor growing there.
Wow.
And at first, the first course of treatment was just a small surgery. They just removed the lump, and that
gotcha.
was here in Las Vegas. And the doctors didn't give me any further treatment. And the
So
pain,
no
though-
radiation.
no radiation, no
It was
chemo
just,
at that
we're going to cut
time.
this out
Yeah.
and then see what happens.
And actually, it was back to work within a month.
Yeah,
And
because I do remember all this.
yeah. And my speech did change slightly, and I was still just scraping by with voiceover work and hosting.
Yeah.
I was challenged, to be sure, but I could do it. And I had this pain in my ear, and it just wasn't going away, and I knew something was wrong. And all this time, I was having scans every 3 months. And about a year went by, and I said to my doctor, like, "I know I just had a clear scan, and you are telling me to take pain medication, but something's wrong." And so I asked them to biopsy me, and they did, and the tumor had returned really aggressively. So, so the next course of treatment was absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they in order to get rid of this tumor now, it was 3.5 centimeters, or 3 centimeters wide, and so it was stage 3, and it wasn't in my lymph nodes at that time, which was very, very fortunate and amazing. But when they did that surgery, they went in to remove the tumor. They took away about half of my tongue, which was, some of it was in the front, where you have your floppy tongue proper, and some of it was the back of the tongue that goes down your throat and helps you swallow. And in order to do the surgery, they had to put a trach in my neck and put me on a feeding tube, because the lymphedema and the swelling was so bad after that surgery that it was like I had a basketball on the left side of my face.
Yeah, and you guys can see, if
Yeah.
you guys are watching, there's some photos of this.
Yeah, that's what radiation did to the back of my neck.
Wow.
And I did a little glamorous side shave there so that I could.
I think I remember seeing you with that on at one point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's my lymphedema pump.
Yeah.
And so for the past year, I've been wearing that almost every day to
Yeah.
kind of normalize my face. And they replaced that tissue in my tongue with tissue from my legs. So I had to have bone, muscle, and skin extracted.
Yeah.
They took out a bit of my jaw that was in the margin, my jaw bone. They replaced my tongue, tethered it to the side of my cheek. I don't have any teeth on the bottom left side.
Okay.
So it's just presented a host of challenges that had come about from the chemo, the radiation, the surgery, having the feeding tube, having to relearn how to walk. It was definitely, absolutely a challenge, and a lot of people that get this disease are older
Yeah.
and not necessarily in really good health to do all this fighting. So in many ways, it was very, very lucky.
Yeah. Now it started, like you said it started, you started noticing it when you were very young.
Yes.
Now, did the oral surgeon that you went to when you were here in Vegas, did he be like, we could have caught this a lot earlier? And would it have been different if they caught it
I
earlier?
mean, I had been seeing someone every 2 years or so.
Yeah.
If I had it to do over again, sure, I would have seen him yearly.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say to anyone who has any sort of symptom in their mouth to go straight to a dentist who can refer you to an oral surgeon, because so many times we think, if something's wrong with my mouth, I'm going to know about it. I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things that can happen in your mouth are often called silent killers, because they're doing their thing before you even realize what's happening. And I had no excuse because I knew something was happening.
Yeah, you recognized it. But I mean, that's the thing. You recognize it and you're like, well, I realize that there's this weird thing going on. But you kind of like, well, it's not really doing anything. And it's like,
You just think, especially if you've lived with it for that long.
You become used to it.
Yeah, it's like your nose blind to the pain, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally understand
And so where other people would experience that pain, they'd be like, oh my God, what's wrong? I'm like, I have a little bit of pain all the time. So that was my normal.
You become, you become normalized to it.
Yeah.
So just to let you guys know, we have the phone lines are open, 702-660-7666. If you guys want to call in and talk to Elly or myself or whatever, you guys have questions about anything that we're talking about, please let us know. So the social media thing, so like you modeled for a lot of like big companies.
Sure.
I remember Leg Avenue
Leg
being one of
Avenue,
them.
yeah.
And like you were doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, obviously it's like everything's gonna stop. I mean, first you got to get your treatment done, and then obviously things are different now.
Sure.
So these companies, obviously, speaking engagements are now going to be different because I mean you can still do them, just not in the same way.
Yeah, it's
right?
not quite the same now.
'Cause now it's almost like you can do like TED Talks or things of that nature,
exactly.
where you can talk about your experiences. Like, this is what happened to me. It's traumatic. But this is what I'm doing to go forward and change my career to a degree.
Yes.
And become something new.
Yes, I absolutely had to reinvent. And I think it was a good thing, and it came at a good time. Because while my career was metamorphosizing anyway, then all of this happened. I think it was at a good age where I was young enough to fight the physical aspects of what was happening to me with the disease.
I'm sorry. We got a call?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got a
awesome.
call.
Let's take a call.
All right. Caller, you are on with myself and Elly Brown.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Elly Brown is Mel Ryder from your hometown of Montgomery.
I'm so happy to hear from you. How are you, Mel?
I am doing fine. I just wanted to let you know that I have shared your podcast and your live feed with the whole town.
Amazing.
Well, thank you guys.
You're a rock star. She shares so much of what I'm creating. I mean, everything really. I can't even remember a time in recent memory when you haven't been supportive and so kind. Thank you, Mel.
I've had the pleasure of watching you grow up since you were a little girl, and it just amazes the hell out of me.
She knew me when I was
Where's your hometown?
My hometown is a beautiful little town in Pennsylvania called Montgomery, PA.
Montgomery, PA.
And it's
All right.
right over the mountain from where they play the Little League World Series.
Ah, okay. I'm from New York originally, so we used to go to the Poconos and Philadelphia and all that stuff a lot.
Those are my peeps.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mel.
for
It's so
sharing
nice to
the
hear
show.
from
We
you.
appreciate it.
Hey, kudos to you, Elly, and we're sending all of our love.
I hope to see you in June. I'm going to come home.
So let me know when you're hitting town. I'll see what I can do to arrange a party for you. Honey.
Oh, my goodness. You're too
All right.
kind.
I'm coming with you.
See you soon, Mel.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
That's great. Yeah. Here's the thing about you, Elly. You have an infectious thing about you. Even before this all happened, and I think even almost more now. The support system you have not just in Las Vegas, like we have a lot of very similar friends, and you guys have parties at your house, and the entire entertainment community that hangs out. There's a group of us that all. I mean, this is a big town, but it's a very small town.
Definitely.
And of course all the magic nerds, including myself. We all know each other or know of each other, but you'd be hard pressed I'd be hard. I don't think I know anybody who has ever had anything negative to say about you.
Oh my gosh.
And it's disgusting.
That's.
Disgusting.
I'm sure there are those people that exist, and
There's got to be some. You have to have some kind of weird secret. Like, are there's like somebody's head in a
Skeletons in my
freezer? Like, what's going on? You're almost too nice.
You know,
You're almost too nice.
when you're on social media, there is a lot of negativity. But for me, I think the most important thing, and I would say to anyone who's listening, if you make art of any kind, or if you want to create or have, opinions about things, that we have to remember that we can't please everybody. And the most important thing is just to keep your nose in your own work and keep doing what you're doing. And the people that need to see it will be able to find you. But if you stop, they can't.
Well, we got another call. Wow, it's a very busy day.
Yay.
All right, caller, you are on with myself and Elly.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, Elly. It's Ginger Hunt. How are you?
Ginger. Hi, Ginger. Okay, guys, I've never met Ginger in real life.
Okay.
But she has been one of my absolute, best friends on social media, right?
Right.
I mean,
Social media, the internet is a really interesting thing this way, that you can actually have real relationships with people who are great people, like this person, and you've never physically been in the same room together.
I've never been in the same room with her. She has sent me snail mail and kept me updated about her life, and we keep in touch. And a lot of people might, I don't know, I think a lot of people might laugh at that it's, or say that it's not a real
the world is
relationship.
different now. I mean,
but that's
quite
exactly
honestly,
right.
the world has changed.
The world is different. This is where our friends are.
Yeah, when I was a kid, things are just the way it is. And it's just different now.
Yeah.
Where are you calling from, my dear?
North Carolina.
Where?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for calling in.
No problem. Elly, I wanted to ask, how did you always stay so positive? Because you're always so positive, and you went through such a rough time. Where did you draw your positivity from?
That's a really good question. And I think in my case, it was multi-layered. So if anyone's listening that is going through something and you're looking for ways to get through it and make your life better, just always remember that maybe no one thing will make a huge difference, but if you try to set certain systems in place for you that are always going all the time. For example, the first time I got sick, I got a dog. And my dog Bodie, you've met Bodie, you've met Bodie.
Yeah.
But he's the best, and having him by my side, I mean, he's a sweet little animal. He can't talk, but he knew inherently why he was there.
Yeah.
And he has been such a steadfast force in my life. Same with, I can't compare the two, but Ricky, my God. Ricky, he's been so steadfast. And when you get sick, you find out very quickly who your friends are, who can get in the ring and fight with you, and who can't take the punches.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of people that get ill, they find their friends and family folding very quickly, and it hurts, and it's disappointing. But I say that is an opportunity for you to curate your life and to go in and cling to those people that you know you can rely on and put your time and your energy with them, and that is going to make all the difference. I have a lot of faith as well. My faith has gotten me through it, and it's such an interesting thing. I could hear voices over both my shoulders the whole time I was getting diagnosis and this and that, and I heard the voices saying, "You're not going to be beautiful. No one's going to listen to you. No one will understand you anymore. No one will want to talk to you." But right on the other shoulder was this other voice saying, "Hey, just stick this out.
Yeah.
This might suck right now, but wait till you see what's going to happen. It's going to be better. It's going to be bigger. You're going to be able to do something amazing with your life." And finding that meaning in my illness has made a difference in my life. And it doesn't have to do with any specific dogma. It doesn't have to do with being right about what happens when we die. It's none of that. It's just walking around the world with faith and knowing that something, someone, some force, or just the way the system works is looking out for you. And if you take things when they come your way as though you just won the lottery, that is exactly what's going to happen. And I had this realization in my mind that if I could treat what had happened to me as though it was a gift, and I could do something with it, and maybe I could help another person, that was what I needed to do to move forward with it. And plus, that was just a lot more fun to think about things in those terms. It kept me from being depressed. And
sitting in a hospital room all day.
Wallowing away. I didn't want that. And maybe a lot of people listening are sick or they are in the hospital, and they really do feel very badly and that they can't move about the world. But if you are conscious and you at least have an internet connection, you can go to amazing places and dream big dreams. And if you can't get up out of bed, go to your computer and make a difference in somebody else's life.
And I think you do a great job at that. Thank you so much for
Thank
calling
you.
in, by the way.
You're
Love you,
welcome.
Ginger.
Bye, Elly.
Love you
Take
dearly.
care,
I'm
Elly.
so happy to talk to you.
And
in
get on a
person.
plane and come to Vegas and visit.
Heck
I
yes.
should. I should.
Please come see me,
Love it.
Ginger. Open invitation.
I will.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, darling.
So the lines are still open, guys. 702-660-7666. So I want to touch back on something you mentioned earlier when you talk about negativity on the internet, which obviously when you're out there and you have over 200-something thousand followers, which when people don't really, I don't know if people can put those numbers together. It's a shitload of people.
It's a lot.
Let's be honest with
I mean,
it.
it's not as many as Ricky last, but
Yeah, but no, I mean, but at one point I remember Ricky was like the most viewed person on the internet. At one point,
I think he was the most viewed entertainer on Facebook.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he had like over 1 billion views. Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
stupid. It was
Stupid fashion,
numbers.
yeah.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is because literally last night something happened where somebody that you did not know just wrote something to you or about you that was very negative and giving like their opinion about something which you did not ask for, but as the internet has, it has these fabulous people called keyboard warriors. If you are one, walk out into traffic because you're an idiot. But I mean, maybe not literally, but you are an idiot for sure. But this guy went on there, and I saw you post this last night. I was doing, some work and stuff last night, and I saw you post this thing, and this guy just sat there and just gave you therapy lessons. And then when I looked up who he was, and it's some guy living in Texas who's a hairdresser, self-employed hairdresser, which I don't know you work at home or Supercuts, I don't know. But it was just really weird that this individual who had no idea about you and even admitted out loud that he didn't even know your story.
Yeah,
And I read some of his backpedaling. I'll just call it what it is. It was backpedaling because once you posted this, a lot of your friends, myself included, had some very interesting things to say to him. And then all of a sudden he came out and was like, I was having a bad day. And so, I just decided I was going to do my amateur thing of being a therapist. And I just found it to be really weird that somebody would say something negative about somebody who is being positive about a bad situation for them. Like, you're not saying, you got to do this. Like, this is what works for me. Right. But we have another call. Oh, we have another call.
Oh yeah.
Hello, you're on with John and Elly.
Hi.
Hi, this is Gracie Moore.
Gracie Moore, my friend. So, Gracie, you're living in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Gracie's
Mom
an
and I
old
live in
friend.
Florida.
She worked at the Lost Colony with me, and that is an outdoor drama based on the first English settlers that moved to the New World. We do it right on Roanoke Island in North Carolina, where they landed, in a beautiful outdoor amphitheater, and that was my gig summers of 96 through 99. And Gracie Moore was my buddy and continues to be. How you been, Gracie?
Mom and I are so flippin' proud of you, woman.
So Grace's mom, Mary, also played a character in the show, and we
It's a whole
shared the
family of
dressing
them.
room. And yeah, but they're so wonderful. These are wonderful people, like friendly, funny, amazing. I love you guys. Thank you for calling in, Gracie.
Hello, gorgeous.
Oh, I think that's mom.
Hi, Mary.
This is Gracie's mom, I take it?
Yep,
Hi. What's your name,
Yay.
my dear?
Mary.
Mary. Nice to
Think
meet
of
you,
Mary
Mary.
Tyler Moore, take away the Tyler and the money, and I'm right left.
That's right.
This woman seems like a lot of fun.
She is a lot of fun. I can tell you that from experience. How you been?
Okay, it's so nice to hear you.
It's nice to hear you too. Oh.
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, I see you. The miracles of whatever it
The
is.
miracle of the internet. You can hear and see her in all of her Las Vegas glory.
But that's what's so great about the internet. This is where
It
we can
is.
hang out now. This is where our friends
You
are.
can talk to people around the world instantaneously. Like
Yeah.
we're literally, people are watching this. I mean, we're sitting here in a studio, but people are watching this all over. Like, here are these people. I've never met them ever
Yeah.
my entire life.
And they
And some
can
of them
tune
you've
in.
never met in your entire life.
How about it? Mary, did you have any specific questions?
Do what? Did you have any specific questions? No, just you're doing okay.
I love you. I love you so much. I'm so happy to
I
hear
love
from
you
you.
too.
Well, thanks, guys, for calling in. And have fun. Thanks for watching.
Love you, Tracy. Love you,
Please,
Mary.
please like and subscribe
Okay,
and do all
love
those
you.
kinds of good things.
Yay.
Oh my God! Like I told you, it's disgusting how much people love you. It's really, but it's true. Like I've never seen you not smiling. Like I saw you during your treatments and stuff like that too. We would go out and be in social situations together. So I saw you through multiple different versions
Yeah.
of you.
You've seen every iteration of me possible.
I
think.
have, and you were always positive, and I find that to be amazing because bad things happen in life, and there's nothing you're going to do to change that. It's just going to be what it's going to be, and you can either give up and be like, feel so sad for yourself and just give up and kind of dive into whatever depression you want, which happens, but or you can do what you did and take something that was not great but make it work for you. And you have a pretty thick skin.
I mean, I
would
hope
say.
so.
I mean,
I don't know if
working
I
in
do
the
or if I
working in the
don't.
business where quite literally you are judged by what you look like
I am used
on
to
a regular
rejection.
basis.
That is true.
I mean, and
I'm
being an
sure
actress
used
and a
to
model,
rejection.
like you've been told no more times than yes.
No doubt.
Just like anybody, myself included, I've been if I
you
ever
could
got
count.
anything, if I got half of the things I was ever told I was going to get, I'd be like so happy right now. But
But I think that's too why. I mean, thank you for saying that. But I think there are plenty of people that don't want to hear what I have to say because maybe they're not ready to accept that life happens the way that it does
Yeah.
sometimes. And in the case of this man who posted yesterday, I think he just didn't. I think he was just doing it to entertain himself, and he didn't even know what he was doing.
yeah.
And there's so many people out there like that, and we can't choose to do our work or not do our work because of those people.
No,
If
absolutely
there's
not.
something that needs to be said, focus on that.
Yes.
Laser focus. It's the same with healing. If you allow thoughts of death and dying and what if and clinical anxiety is one thing, and that's a really tough thing to cope with because your body doesn't let you
Yes.
put down those feelings. And so I'm in therapy. I would say to anyone, if you're anxious or depressed and you think everything I say is a bunch of hooey, get to a therapist because that's how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I'm able to choose happiness on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And
Because not every day. I mean, obviously, I've seen you always in a very positive way. But you, like everybody else, there's going to be some days where you don't feel that way.
100%.
I mean, not everything is on the internet and on Facebook and Instagram. Most people only post very positive things, which is great. there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times behind those positive things are very negative things, or depression, or social anxieties, and things of that nature. And I think a lot of people live in a fantasy world so much that they forget that you do sometimes need help. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with asking, like, hey, listen, I just need to talk to somebody.
Just getting the energy out of your body and into the air. Yeah. That in itself is... I'm
experiencing this. How can I better cope with it? Because sometimes it's easier to ask, especially when you're in a relationship. It's not always easy to talk to the person that you're, intimately involved with. It's a lot easier to talk to somebody who's completely non-biased, and getting to a therapist and finding somebody to talk to who's a professional who can help you organize your thoughts and your feelings is a good thing. So if you guys are out there dealing with that kind of stuff, seek some kind of help, no matter how you can go about it.
And if you don't like your doctor, whether it's a therapist or a medical doctor, just get a new doctor. Yeah. And I know some people that's a challenge because of insurance and whatnot, but if you can find a way and turn over every stone, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that you trust. And because when you get sick, you don't always think clearly, right?
Yes.
You get that anxiety and you worry, and it's very easy to make decisions that aren't in your best interest. So if you're talking to one of your doctors or someone that you feel like you're supposed to trust and they're not meeting the mark, find someone new.
Yeah. That's great. Let's see. We're going to ask you some questions that are not so serious, just to lighten the mood a little bit. So, I've been on the show Ghost Adventures, as some people know, and I work with Zach at his museum here in town.
Which, by the way, I'm so embarrassed to say I haven't come to see you
there
yet.
You have not come to see. But don't feel bad. Most of my friends in town have not come to see me.
But is it because scary things scare them?
No, I think a lot of them are just, a lot of our friends are goofballs.
I know, we need to remedy that. I need to come see you there.
It's like, because here's the thing. When I grew up in New York, the World Trade Center and the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty, there was something you saw every day in New York, and you didn't think about it because it was there. And then all of a sudden when stuff's not there, you're like, man, I wish I did that.
Exactly.
But the museum is going strong, and we're not going anywhere. But I know you. I know eventually, I'm not going anywhere either. So
Will I be terrified?
Well, here's the thing about it. It all depends on what frightens you. So a lot of people. Well, then you're gonna have a terrible time. So the museum is filled with lots of stuff. It is so people who are fans of the show. Now we do have an age restriction that's 16 and over, and it's for a very good reason. Look at me. If I'm telling you no, then maybe you should think about that. If this guy thinks it's a bad idea, it's probably not. Because I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life. So, but it's one of those things where there's a lot of very intense visuals in that place.
Oh yeah.
Because when people see stuff on TV, it's one thing. I'll give an example. Just 2 days ago, while I was doing my show, so in the room I'm in kind of the newer back section of the house. So the house originally is built in 1938. The back section, it was built around the 70s, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I want to say around the 70s. So in my section of the house where I perform and I talk about what happens in there, weird stuff happens there. Now, nothing ever happens to me. I've never seen anything, felt anything, nothing. I'm totally transparent. But hundreds of people have all experienced stuff, and they've told me about it while I'm doing my show. So just 2 days ago, one of the things that gets very common that happens in the room I'm in is people get touched, physically touched. And it's always the same kind. And by that I mean it's always nothing more than waist high. So people get tapped on their legs, grabbed on their leg, that kind of thing. Feels like something's tapping on their feet, all that kind of stuff. 2 days ago, I'm sorry. I was right before I talked about what happened in there. There was a lady standing over to my left, and she jumped back. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, something just grabbed my leg. I was like, well, what did it feel like? She's like, it felt like a little hand, like a child. So the odd thing about that, her saying that before I talked about it, is the thing that gets reported back there the most is touching, and the entity that gets reported the most being seen is a small child. is a small girl in a white dress.
Dan, I love you.
So
No.
so some people
No, I can't.
the funny thing about that is the guy who was with her, I'm not sure if it was her husband or boyfriend or whatever, he kind of made a face like, yeah, whatever, and which I see a lot,
Yeah, you probably-
especially when I'm talking about ghosts and stuff. People are like, yeah, whatever, I don't believe in it. Within a few seconds of him making that face, he jumped back because something grabbed him. Then it grabbed him again. Funny story was, throughout the rest of the house, it kept following him to the different rooms, and he kept getting touched to the point where he couldn't wait to get out of the museum.
Yeah.
So I've seen skeptics go from being very skeptical to believe it. Now, with that being said, I don't know. Do I know if a ghost is happening? Is it psychosomatic? I don't know. But here's the
that
weird
house
thing.
brought-
I didn't even talk about it yet. So that's what I found to be very interesting.
Was the house brought in? Or was it
So
built
yeah,
there?
so this little girl's entity actually is attached to an object that was brought into the museum. So there is an urn with a woman's ashes in it. In that woman was reportedly possessed by over 200 demons.
Wow.
So the interesting thing about that is the people who had it before they gave that to Zach, they reported seeing a little girl in a white dress walking around their house and things of that
Definitely
nature.
not for
so
everybody.
so super creepy. This is not something that we talk about in the tour. It's just we know about it, the people who work there. So when stuff happens, we're trying to because we're not trying to lead people down
Yeah,
that
yeah.
down
You
that
don't
road.
want to preconceive
And
notions in
being
their
somebody
head
who does
and-
magic, I'm used to fooling people, so I'm always
Yeah.
looking for the trick. And some people, I'm sure, completely lie and say something's happening when it's
Maybe,
not.
sure.
Sometimes it's their friends touching them. I've actually seen that more than anything in there. I've seen.
Especially if they've done research on it ahead of
Yeah,
time, and then
yeah.
they go into that situation thinking something might happen to
Yeah,
them.
so people mess with each other in there all the time.
Yeah.
We get a wide variety of things. So the question I have for you, and I ask everybody who comes in, is what are your thoughts on the paranormal? Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
No, I've
You've
never
never-
had one.
No.
And I tend toward not believing in ghosts, but I will say that I do believe there's a lot of, my mother would say spiritual warfare.
Spiritual warfare.
and I giggle a little bit, but she means it very seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to the idea that might really be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's a force that wants that's your soul and wants to, I don't know. It makes it fit-
Or just grandma coming back to say, hey, how you doing?
yeah, but who knows? Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to ever get so attached to the idea one way or the other
Yeah.
that I cut myself off from being open to what might be some real magic in the world.
Yeah.
In terms of the things that are going on behind the scenes that we don't understand, whether that's good or bad.
Yeah.
We love as human beings, don't we love to just put a label on it and say this is a bad thing and this is a good thing.
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
But there's so many things happening behind the curtain. We only understand and have knowledge about so many things about this world. So would I ever be like, ghosts aren't real, don't believe it? I might say that to someone who's about to drop a big investment on a psychic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yes.
But-
I wholeheartedly agree on this thing.
But yeah, in terms of saying do I believe or not believe in ghosts, I would say I've been lucky not to have any paranormal
experience, yeah.
and I would be very happy to go the rest of my life without them. Thank you very much.
Well, that is one of the things I find very interesting. So people come to the museum and go on ghost hunts and things like that for a multitude of different reasons. You have the hardcore believers, which
Sure.
every little crackle in a house is a ghost,
Yeah.
which I try to not lean towards I try to tell people not to lean towards immediately believing everything that you don't understand
It's a dangerous
is
place to put
supernatural or
yourself in.
paranormal,
Yeah.
because a lot of times this stuff is just a thing. It's just normal. Sometimes your pants move and it feels like somebody touching you. I've had it happen to me multiple times.
Yeah.
And or I think you hear something like there's a door that's in the room where I perform, and it leads to the parking lot. And sometimes people think it's an entrance and they pull on the door, but from the inside it makes a very creepy, weird sound. And so there's a chain by the door, and it sounds like the chain is rattling. So it's real. So the first time that ever happened, it freaked me out because I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit! I was like, there's a friggin' ghost. And then it happened again and again, and I'm like,
What is that?
And then
Yeah.
one time there was a crack in the door, and you can kind of see outside. It was daylight, and I saw a shadow move up. And when I went outside, it was somebody was there. And like, oh, I tried to open the door, and I'm like, so that's what it's been the whole time. So instead of jumping right away to like, I mean, I did freak myself out a little bit, but then I'm like, there's got to be some rational explanation for this.
No
and I
doubt.
try to tell people that, like, I mean, you know, Zach is, I mean, one of the first people. They tried to debunk stuff, which I have respect for him because of that. Because people who sit there and go, oh, you know, oh, there, I saw a shadow. That's a ghost. It's like, you know, not. I have a good friend of mine. I make fun of her all the time because she thinks everything is a ghost. Yeah, I love her to death, but it's like everything is a ghost. And so along those same lines, one of the other things I like to ask people is, what are your thoughts on like UFOs, alien encounters? Have you ever seen a UFO or believe you've seen a UFO?
You know, I've never seen one. But
I mean, you're from Pennsylvania.
Might be one, but I am
and,
from Pennsylvania.
You know, so there's a lot of mountainous and country
Yeah,
rural areas out
my
there.
niece loves UFOs, and that,
Yeah.
but I haven't really spoken with her about it at length to figure
Yeah.
out if she's ever seen one or any of that. I need to ask her, Johnny, if you're listening. Let's talk about UFOs.
Well, this is a great place to live if you want to talk about UFOs.
But I mean, I love hearing the stories. And
I do
when
too.
we were working on
I watch
Domicile,
all
we,
those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we watch the documentaries.
I watch
and look at that
everything,
stuff
and I've seen some very interesting documentaries on Netflix and Hulu. I mean, my girlfriend and I we spend hours just like absorbing
Yeah,
these
yeah.
things because it's fascinating. So there's the one guy on the History Channel who I love, the Ancient Aliens guy.
Okay.
You ever seen the memes of him? He's got like the crazy hair. And
maybe.
he's sometimes he wears a little too much orange tanner.
Okay.
But he's so like I could listen to him like read the phone book. Like it's so
Just captivating
just to
voice and
watch him talk about stuff. Like
Yeah.
he is so into it.
Well, I think there's so many great stories. UFO stories, it's something we can put our own beliefs and meanings into. Either way, whether you think they're real or you don't, that sort of story and the storytelling that can grab you about UFOs and whether or not they exist and what could be hiding and what's behind the curtain, it's so compelling.
Well, I
because
mean, the universe, space is so big.
it's so big and there's
It's
so
so
much we
big.
don't know.
Unless
And-
you talk to some people who think the Earth is completely flat and this is all bullshit, which I love. And if you believe in the flat Earth theory and you would like to be on the show, please call in
God.
because I am fascinated with this premise. And once again, another thing, I will watch every YouTube video
Yep,
about everything about flat. I want to know all it. I find it very fascinating. I honestly don't believe it, but I'm very open to learning about how this came to be.
Yeah.
Like, because initially the world was considered flat.
Mm-hmm.
Then we decided, hey, you can actually go around this thing and come back on the other side.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But these people say that's not true, and space and NASA is fake and all this stuff, and I find that very fascinating because everything we know they say is completely bogus.
I think, the world is such a crazy place where, especially now with information coming at us through different channels and faster than ever, it's very easy to get wrapped up in and feel strongly about something very quickly while actually knowing very little about it.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous thing, and I think for me, just as a human being, I want for myself to be able to step back and try to see both sides, but I definitely have my own opinions. I mean, I'm a
Yeah, of
person
course,
like
of
anyone
course.
else, and I can't turn that off. But I wouldn't want to, alienate.
I totally. I'm
Aliens,
fascinated. I'm fascinated by all these things. Just last night, we were watching a documentary on these lizard people, these reptilian aliens that live in Antarctica, and there's these giant underground bases, and I'm like, this is amazing.
It's so fun to watch.
Oh my god, it's so good. If that's true, holy shit, that's amazing.
Amazing.
And, but at the same time, it's like it's really hard to wrap my head around, like they're saying all the books that have ever been written are fake. Everything is misinformation. And I'm like, and I understand misinformation, especially, the government and things of that,
Sure.
using misinformation because, that's part of what it is. But I just find all this stuff highly, highly interesting.
Oh, definitely.
It's so much fun.
You can go down the rabbit hole watching so many different things. And,
Oh my God, there's so many great things out there, and I love all of them.
Yeah.
I love all of them. So one other thing I want to talk. So going back to Ricky, for those of you who don't know who Ricky Lax is, he's a magician friend of mine as well. Really fun guy, very multi-talented guy.
Oh, yeah.
I find him to be. I always love listening to him talk because he's always got really great stories. Which I'm hoping, if Ricky, if you're listening, I want you on the show.
I'm the show too.
Yeah, yes. I think you need to talk him into coming on the show. So
I'll do my best.
I hope so. I hope so. But so you in the video you even said about how he showed you a magic trick on your first date. So you guys met on Facebook.
We did. We had been friends for a while because he was roommates with a girl that was one of the first women I met in Las Vegas. And when he first moved here, he lived with her. So Ricky and I don't even remember when we became Facebook friends. By the time I really noticed him on my radar, we'd been friends for like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was a little bit strange. I saw a photo in my newsfeed of him fully clothed, but sitting on a toilet with a laptop.
I think I've seen that photo.
Yeah, and I was like, what is this? That's really cute. And I put some comments on it. Total stranger, not like me.
Yeah.
But I commented on it, and he messaged me. He DM'd me right away. And I was like,
look at Ricky sliding
he's
into
so
the
cute.
DM.
He did. He slid into my DMs, and I was like, I'll take one review, and another review, and another review. Love that guy.
And so when you guys first went out, he did a magic trick, which if you guys saw the video at the beginning, that's the trick he did for you.
Yeah,
with
he
the
bends
fork.
the fork. Yeah.
But you had dated another magician, so you're always. I have this ongoing gag about women who date magicians, and it's like once you date one magician, it's just you're doomed. You're drawn into it for some weird reason.
It's a funny thing because I didn't want to hurt his feelings or anything like that by saying, and truth to be told, I didn't know how he was doing it.
Yeah.
But I had seen that shtick before, like especially working on cruise ships. I had met so many magicians who use magic to impress women, and some I guess are better at it
magicians
than
not
others.
known for their social grace.
But she didn't do it in a smarmy way. She was adorable, and I felt like that moment was so cute. Where I was like, I've been down this room, but
I don't really care about your magic trick. I actually just like you.
Yeah, and I was like, tell me about when you wrote your book.
Yeah, because he's a writer as well.
Yeah.
And he passed the bar.
The bar.
He's
like a lawyer.
He's like a legit lawyer. He writes.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy he's insane.
He's
multifaceted.
multifaceted.
I do love that guy.
Yeah.
You guys have always been fun and always been great. We
thank
have
you.
just a few more minutes left. I want you to please plug your social media stuff. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Sure. So
online.
I put different types of content in different places. So if you want to watch my Fun with Friends real life show, that's the Elly Brown Show on Facebook. Just the Elly Brown Show. If you want to come to my YouTube channel and check out my informational content about my oral cancer niche or being a survivor or people with physical challenges, scars, speech impediments, come find me on YouTube, and that's YouTube/Elly Brown. So,
And it's ELLY.
Yes, ELLY.
And Brown spelled.
Yep. And if you just want to
BROWA.
look at pictures from my life, pictures of me and my dog, pictures of what I eat,
I remember
see me
when
on
you guys
Instagram.
first you were just like fostering that dog.
Yeah,
am I correct?
we fostered him for a week.
Yes.
Because at the time I wasn't sure if we should get a dog. Because
you guys were living in someplace else.
We were living somewhere else, and I
Yes.
had just gotten sick.
Yeah.
And it was Richie's idea, really,
Yeah.
to get a dog. And I was on the fence. But man, the first day we got him,
I remember seeing you guys with the dog the first time, and I'm like, "There's no way you guys are not
oh no,
going to keep this dog."
I knew right away we would keep the dog. He got up on the couch with me and just leaned into me. And I was like, that's it. I'm a mother.
That is amazing.
Stole my heart.
Elly, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Thank you so
John,
much.
it's
You
such a pleasure
are
to be
one of my
here.
favorite people in the world.
Oh my
You
goodness.
truly are. Guys, this has been Elly Brown. My name is John Shaw. Tune in next week, guys. We have Anastasia Sin. an awesome biohacker and cyborg. And if you don't know what that is, you need to tune in so you can find out. She's going to do some incredible stuff. She can show you she has implants all over her body that do all kinds of incredible things. Please tune in, check it out. This video, if you guys didn't catch it all live, this video will be posted up. Aaron's going to get it up here probably by tomorrow, and you guys can watch it over and over again. Follow Elly online on all her social media stuff. You guys can click on all that, and make sure you guys go to afterdark.host, and you can follow all of our social media, and you guys can please like and subscribe and share and do all the great things. That would be super helpful, and we thank you guys so much for tuning in. And next week we'll see you here, same time, same place. Thank you guys so much. My name is John Shaw, and this is the wonderful Elly Brown.
So happy to be here, John. Thank you.